Hi YouTube, this is P31 Diva coming to you with a video which I'm entitling Protect Your Hair from Protective Styles. And so let's get started. And I'm going to break this into 3 different phases. One from before you get the protective style, then while or during the time that you have the protective style, and then finally after you have the protective style. But first, let me start with defining what I'm referring to when I say protective style. It can cover a lot of things, but I'm speaking specifically about braids. That would be micro braids, regular size braids, but mainly micro braids, kinky twists, the yarn braids or genie locks, and some of this will even relate to I like to ask a person who is referring their stylist to me is, what do you like about her? What do you like about her work? What don't you like about her? What don't you like about her work? How long did it take? And the price. To ask about a stylist is, what type of hair do they prefer to work with? Some stylists are very specific about a brand or a type of hair, and you may have not ever heard of that brand, and you particularly don't like that brand, so you just want to make sure you have all those issues smoothed out. I found myself disappointed with stylists when there was a lack of communication and what I thought was going to happen wasn't going to happen, or vice versa. So just make sure that you are on the same page with the stylist. Some other things to think about before you get your protective style is the timeline you're going to keep your style. I see a lot of people who end up damaging their hair because their hairstyle has expired, but they're still holding on to it, and it's time to let it go. I recommend not keeping a protective style in, depending upon the style, no more than 8 weeks, 10 possibly, just depends. Some of that depends on if you get your edges redone, things like that. But 6 to 8 weeks is the average that I would say for protective style in general. You have to look at what's best for you. I like to pull out the calendar. I like to set a date of when I'm going to first get the style. You can't see that. I like to set a date of when I'm first going to get the protective style and when I'm going to take it out. And I factor in things like family obligations, out-of-town trips. Am I taking any pictures? Do I want to look a certain way for anything? I don't want the end of my protective style to come and I have someplace important to go and then I'm kind of looking a little scarf. And this one has an elastic band. Of course, this is just a regular scarf. And then I'll just tie this down over it so that my edges lay down smooth, but I'm not having to put an elastic band, which is constant tension on it. This one I can loosen to my liking. So at night, this is what I do. And I just have it. And of course, in the morning, you can just take it down, kind of fluff it out. I cleansed my hair yesterday. Okay, while I'm talking about that, sometimes people get a protective style and they think, okay, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to cleanse my hair. I don't have to tie it down. I'm just going. Not so much. Not in my opinion, at least. So I did an ACV rinse with baking soda, which is apple cider vinegar. I did ACV rinse with baking soda. Towards the front of my hair, I took this toothbrush. You see that? Okay, I took this toothbrush to cleanse my scalp. Now, I put it on my scalp, and then I moved it in a circle like this, or I did it like this. I didn't go like this. So I held it still and just kind of agitated my scalp. Not big circles, just hold it still and go like that. So, but I did that, and then I did a co-wash, and it's dry now. I don't use towels on my hair. I used a t-shirt on my hair, and while I was in the shower, I held it here and I kind of squeezed as much water as I could out of my hair. When I was all said and done, squeezed. I flipped my head over and squeezed down that way. Then I used a towel, excuse me, not a towel, just a t-shirt. Did a kind of turban, but left it straight so it could dry. I didn't want to hold any moisture in. And it took about 2 hours for my hair to dry that way. It was damp, so completely dry in about 2 hours. But that's about cleansing. And then when I finished, I just took some jojoba oil and kind of rubbed it through the individual braids, flipped it over, rubbed it through down that way. And then my scalp felt fine. I didn't have any places that felt dry, but if I did, I just take a little oil and kind of rub it through. I'm being gentle not to rip through my hair, but just kind of move in a circular motion. So that's about cleansing. Let's talk about repetitive styles. Ponytails. I go to the gym, and so I typically have my hair in a ponytail, and I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. bands. One, I don't use rubber bands in my hair even when it's in a protective style because my hair is still somewhat exposed. But when I say repetitive styling, so I'm pulling my hair back. I have this looped twice on my hand. Pulling my hair back here, right? And then I just kind of tuck this here. The next day, can you see that? The next day, I won't put my hair in that same place. I may flip my head over like this. Let's see if I can do it. And I may wear it in a higher ponytail. Okay. And then the next day, I might wear two. When I say repetitive, I have to edit this out. Okay. When I say repetitive style, putting tension on the same hair every day, pulling it the same way every day. Sometimes I pull down, sometimes I pull up, but you want to change it up so that you're not always applying the same tension to the same hair because that can start to weaken the hair, can start to stress the hair. You see a lot of, well, not you, I see a lot of African American women who either they've done or their daughters, all this is bald traction alopecia, which is the scientific term for just pulling your hair so tight that it's come out. And it may or may not have enough bands and you're in a bind. And of course these aren't elastic, it's just the yarn. But you can tie it on one, braid it, braid it, braid it. When you get to the other end, burn it again. And you've got a yarn ribbon braid. Yarn braid ribbon, I guess. That's what I would call it. So we talked about repetitive styling. Okay, edges. Let's talk about edges again because this is where I see the potential for the most damage. I redid my edges on, let me go back. I put this set of yarn braids in on March 5th and 6th. On April 5th, I redid just this front row. I'm trying to lean in close, but the very bottom of my hair is huge. And as you can see, it's growing a lot. So the very bottom of my hair is huge. And that's about how big they were. I just grabbed it with my fingers. I didn't part anything back here. As I moved up towards the front, I did part a little bit more. In comparison to these, significantly smaller, still not tiny. And then, of course, when I got to the front, smallest, and some of you are probably thinking, well, your smallest is my largest. And another thing about taking your hair down, if you're doing micros, what I used to do is, again, I had my hair braided 2 inches past the ends of my hair. I would take scissors and clip off everything at the knot and down. So I do that all over. So I kind of have this crazy haircut of braids. Buy the cheapest conditioner you can find, 59-cent conditioner, and just soak your hair with conditioner. Wet it and just soak it. Use at least half the bottle. You'll need the other half, say halfway through, so don't use all of it just yet. I would then take a fine tooth comb. I would take maybe, say, about this many braids at one time, hold it securely, and then and I'm holding it so that I'm not pulling my scalp. And I would start to rake out those braids. And then once I got here, I could just take my hair and they would just come out. That's because your hair is saturated with product. It would just start to slide out. But that's about taking your hair down. I had to just take down these ends, and it took me a couple of minutes to kind of get the hang of what I was doing, but I saw where my hair ended. It went down a little bit below. I clipped it. I started to unbraid it, and for me, I braid, I guess, at a medium pace. I started to unbraid. I just went in reverse to get them started, and then I was able to kind of take the two and just pull and get it to go up to where, say, maybe to about here, and then I kind of unbraiding it again. Talked about protecting your hair from protective styles, what to do before, during, and after, and take care.